Here at the front, there's another question.
My name is Mahar Sigid, African Refugee News. I have a question for the director. Watching your film, I didn't feel going back to the 17th century or 18th century because the actresses acted like women that we see today. How did you manage to do this? And why did you use the storyteller, the librarian? Because that was really perfect.
Ah oui, oui, c'est un très très bon acteur.
Yes, she's a very good actress. Well, how should I put this? It's a way of shooting, as Diana was saying, a way of receiving, welcoming the actors, and in this case primarily actresses. So the idea is that I don't set them into a historic world. It's not a setting of the past that's the most important. Of course, they're in costumes, they're in historic settings, certainly. But what's important to me is to give them a sense that there's no caesura between the point in time when they're shooting and what they're supposed to be representing. There's a sense of continuity, in a sense, so they're not talking as they would talk nowadays, certainly. But they didn't act situations that you might imagine one-to-one nowadays. But relates to the way in which you shoot as well, with one sequence, one set of images following on from another, and I try to show that things have to happen in this way because that's how they have to happen, as if it were in the present. So it's as if all of this were unfolding and unfurling in the present with a certain inner necessity, and so the film gives this sense of presence and indeed of the present. I hope at least. But there's two different ways of making historical dramas. Costume films reconstituting the past. You can do it in a historiographic way, in a kind of antiquarian way, with a desire to depict a world in itself, but a world set apart nonetheless, or, on the contrary, and this is rather my way of working, seeking to render this as present and as contemporary as possible, without any anachronisms, of course, but as present as possible in terms of what you're depicting. And it was very important to me that Leah, Diana, Virginie, that they were in their costumes, acting not as if they were wearing special costumes, but as if they were in their own dress at that very moment. They weren't disguised, camouflaged in costume or anything like that. Perhaps I could put this question to the actresses as well. I wonder how you perceived this modern, this sense of the contemporary, and how you experienced what Benoit has just told us about. Well, the actresses, they have to go along with it. It's hard for them to wriggle out of this, in a sense. I mean, you know, I hypnotize them, I mesmerize them, they don't really know what I'm up to. That's what he thinks, anyway. Well, yes, certainly they know what they're doing, but it's very complicated for them to, in a sense, analyze this. I know way I can, because after all, it's up to me to do that. I'm the one who analyzes this and constructs an argument on it, but I'm sure that nonetheless they could say something very intelligent on this if they felt like it, certainly, of course.
No. Okay. Eine Frage hinten in der Mitte, bitte.
Question at the back. One question to Ms. Kruger from the ZDF. There's two parts to this question. The Berlinale. You're dear to your heart now. You're on the jury. You presented a film. What does the Berlinale mean to you, and why is it so dear to your heart? What's special about it? And the second question, just briefly, why was this film so important to you and so dear to your heart that it should be the opening film here? Well, I must say, I'm really excited to be here today.
eines der einzigen Male, wo ich mich daran erinnern kann, dass ich wirklich gestern Abend kaum
think
geschlafen habe, weil
sort
es
of
ist klar,
the
ich
few
bin Deutsche, ich bin
occasions on which
selten in
I
Deutschland
can remember not having slept. I
nach
never
Hause
hardly
zu
slept
kommen, ist
a wink
natürlich
last
immer
night.
was
I'm
ganz anderes, sage ich
German.
mal,
I'm
als
from
den Film
Germany,
dann
and
vor
coming
Kamera
home, it's
vorzustellen.
very different than presenting a film in a
Im
different
Wettbewerb
country.
zu sein
And
ist
being in the
immer toll, aber
competition is
dann auch
always
noch
fantastic,
der
of
erste
course.
Auftaktfilm zu sein,
But being
ist
the
nochmal eine
opening
ganz
film
große
is
Ehre und gerade mit dieser Rolle
extra
auch die
special.
französische
And with
Königin,
this
obwohl
role as well as
sie
the French
aus
Queen,
Österreich kam damals,
although she came from
kommt,
Austria,
aber
which in those days was
das ist, es ist wirklich ein
part of
Traum,
Germany.
den
It's
ich
really,
nie
it's
gewagt hätte zu
a
träumen,
dream
der
I would
wirklich
never
wird. Und
have
es
actually
100 Jahre
dreamed to dream that it
Babelsberg
would
noch
become
dazu
true, and 100 years of
ich
Babelsberg
weiß nicht,
as well.
dieses Jahr
And I think
ist was ganz Besonderes,
that this
weil
year is
ich
something
bestimmt mein ganzes Leben
very
dran erinnere.
special. I'm sure I'll remember it all my life.
Well, because I feel like there's similarities to my career, my life. I arrived in Paris pretty much at the same time as Marie Antoinette did. I've learned about the French Revolution obviously in school, but I feel like in a way, what I've learned being in France and becoming to know a culture as a foreigner, especially as a German, is very similar to what I think she must have felt like. And to be in Versailles and to play that part, it was a real moment of, I don't know, I just felt like there was something there that I can't really put my finger on. That just, I feel like this part changed many things for me personally, and also just to be there and to work with Benoit, who I very much respect for his work, and obviously all my other co-stars. But I don't know. I got goosebumps when I read the script. I was born July 15th. My mother's name is Maria Teresa. So a lot of things came together. So I don't know. I just it's I'm excited and very nervous about tonight.
Ja, eine Frage auf der rechten Seite.
Another question on the right-hand side.
Félicitations d'abord.
First of all, congratulations for this film. I really loved it.
Une petite critique en ce qui
One
concerne le
minor
personnage
point of
du roi.
criticism as
Alors,
to
je
the
trouvais
king, the
très,
character of the king.
très faible
I
et,
felt that was kind of
pas très
weak in a
convaincant
sense,
non
not
plus.
terribly
Et,
convincing.
Est-ce que vous
in a way.
vouliez montrer que
Did you
justement,
want to
vouliez
portray
raconter
him
surtout
in this
l'histoire
way
des
intentionally,
femmes
in a
et,
sense telling the story of women first and
avoir
foremost?
négligé peut-être un petit
Did you
peu,
perhaps
le sort des
neglect
hommes?
the fate of men somewhat?
Mais c'est à moi que vous posez la question.
Oui.
Is it me that you're asking? Well, yes, mostly you.
Mais ça me semblait important que.
Well, it
Louis
seemed
XVI,
important to me that Louis XVI,
pour ce qu'on en sait, apparaisse comme un roi.
should appear in a way
Enfin, un personnage.
as a king,
indécis,
as a figure who was
maladroit,
indecisive, awkward,
presque bourgeois. On l'appelait le roi
almost
bourgeois. à
bourgeois.
l'époque,
He was
voilà.
dubbed
Et
a bourgeois king
qu'il ait ce côté
at the time.
presque immature aussi.
He has an almost immature touch to him.
Est comme incomplet.
It's in a sense as if the character is not quite complete. It's just sketched out roughly.
Il apporte dans cette
that
scène
means
avec Diane,
that in the
puisque c'est
scene
la
with
scène
Diana,
où on le voit sur une durée assez longue.
that's the one where we really see him
C'est
for
cette scène où il
some
retrouve Diane
time.
alors que Diane
The one
vient d'avoir
when he
une
comes
véritable
to
crise
talk to Diana, and Diana's
nerveuse.
just had a real
Il
nervous
apporte une espèce
crisis,
de
almost a
simplicité,
breakdown.
de
He
bonhomie,
brings
qui
a
peuvent en
sense
effet surprendre, mais
of
qui,
simplicity
enfin, quant à moi,
along
me-
with him,
me-
a sense of
me convenait très
bonhomie,
bien.
something that I
Voilà.
liked very much. It may appear surprising, but
Bon, alors, évidemment,
I felt that
c'est
was
pas-
positive.
Xavier Beauvois, c'est un metteur en
Xavier
scène très
Beauvois, of
connu,
course,
sur-
is a very
c'est
famous
acteur, mais
director.
pas son activité principale, donc
Being
c'est un choix,
an actor is not
mais,
his main job, so
c'est
of course, in
un
a sense,
choix
it's
dont
it's a
je suis
choice, but
félicite.
it's a choice that I'm very happy about.
D'ailleurs, il y a plusieurs metteurs en scène qui jouent dans le film. Et
And
c'est quelque chose
there's
aussi
several
qui est-
directors
qui s'est fait
acting in the film.
parce que je le voulais un peu. Il y a 3 metteurs en scène qui
There's
sont
3
acteurs.
directors actually acting in
Il y
the
a
film.
Nomilovski,
Nomilovski
il y a Xavier Beauvois,
Xavier Beauvois.
et un garçon qui joue un noble qui s'appelle Jacques Nolot.
and Jacques
Voilà,
Nolot.
3 metteurs en scène français.
So 3 French directors are acting in this film.
Ben, à chaque fois, ils jouent des rôles qui, d'une certaine
Well, they
façon,
play roles
supposent,
which, in a
une sorte
sense,
de mise en scène, soit d'eux-mêmes,
presume
soit du monde
a
dans
kind
lequel
of
ils sont.
staging or
Alors, le roi, ça va
orchestration
de soi.
of one sense, a mise en
Madame
scène.
Campan,
The king, of
Nomilovski,
course,
elle
Nomilovski
met en
was
scène, elle est chargée de la mise
Madame
en scène de
Campan. She's in
l'entourage de la
charge
reine.
of staging the Queen's entourage.
Et Jacques Nolot,
And
bah,
Jacques
disons que
Nolot,
c'est un...
well,
Disons que ce noble, ça, dans le couloir,
he's
je ne sais pas s'il est
a
metteur en scène, c'est un
nobleman
metteur en scène en état de
in the
panique.
corridors. I don't
Voilà,
know if
quand un metteur en scène ne sait plus
it's a
où
bit
mettre
like
sa
a
caméra, il est un peu
panicked
comme ça.
director. It's a bit like a director who's got no idea where to put his camera, and that came across in that scene in the corridor.
Ja, bei all den Königen wollen wir nicht vergessen, dass wir 3
We shouldn't forget about the king, but there are also 3 wonderful queens, wonderful women here. Farewell, My Queen, the opening film this evening for the 62nd Berlinale. So every success to the film this evening, and wonderful that you're here with us. Thank you for being with us.